What if Gastrodon was in Gen 1 OU? Now, I've covered both, Quagsire and Swampert on this channel before, and being a water ground type obviously is very good in Gen 1. I'm gonna be real though, I do think Gastrodon is probably my favorite, and potentially the one that's the best. Which I know sounds crazy, and technically, if I didn't exclude Quagsire and Swampert to just their original movesets from Gen 2 and Gen 3, they probably could have the potential to be better than Gastrodon, or at least Swampert. But no, like, there's some things that Gastrodon has that they have in other generations, but they wouldn't have, which is how I like to decide what moves get added in Gen 1 or not. Those two moves are Recover and Amnesia. I forget what gen Quagsire and Swampert get them, but I do know in their most modern generations, they have those moves respectively. Quagsire does not get Recover in Gen 2, and Swampert does not get Amnesia in Gen 3. Both of those are very huge. Quagsire and Swampert too, they just really wish they had Recovery. Even in the modern day, Swampert doesn't really have any reliable Recovery, outside of leftovers, I think. And it's annoying. It really is. But Gastrodon does not suffer from these problems. It has Recover and Amnesia. So, that's already great. But then you have really good base stats as well. The worst thing you have here, not counting your speed, is 68 defense. Which may remind you... Actually, let me just make sure this is true. I'm pretty sure that's just higher than Snorlax's defense. Yeah, look at that, 65. And technically Snorlax have 65 special defense as well. So while your HP isn't as high, you do have higher defenses than Snorlax. And with 111 HP, you're already pretty bulky. Let's actually put this in the Gen 1 format real quick. I just want to see how much the HP compares to the others. So 115, or 111, right? I believe it's 111. Yeah, that's actually just higher than Rhydon at 105 HP. So that's crazy. It's absolutely crazy. And luckily its move pool is pretty good as well. Along with the moves you see in front of you, Earthquake, Recover, Blizzard, Amnesia. It also has Body Slam. It has Surf, moves like that. I'm gonna say that only Surf matters though, because the biggest problem Gastrodon faces is having to choose between Blizzard and Surf. Both have very good advantages over the other. Blizzard is just more base power, and you have the freeze chance, and really importantly, it allows you to beat some Pokemon that are usually unwinnable, such as Executor. However, it only has 8 power points. Meanwhile, with Surf having Stab, I'm pretty sure it's just more powerful. Way more power points, which is also just extremely important to go over. Since like it's gonna be an Amnesia user that usually wants to stall. Not to mention, like, it's just, even if you don't have a boost, or Surf just seems like a better move just to spam if you just want to get some damage in, you don't feel like you want to set up because you're scared they're going to switch into something. But Blizzard is also pretty decent for that as well. And Earthquake is not bad on Gastrodon at all. Keep in mind it's Gen 1, so everything has max DVs and max IVs. So Gastrodon is using max attack and max special attack. So that attack is at like 265, which is good. Really good. That means that hits decently hard against Rhydon, Gengar's scared of you. Even Chansey and Alakazam will take very, very good chip damage from that. And even its technical worst stat of 39 is not even that bad, because you're faster than Snorlax, and you're faster than Slowbro. And for Slowbro in particular, that's huge, because while you're also water type with Amnesia, you don't have the resistance because of your ground typing. So being able to always outspeed Amnesia being able to always speed Slowbro, going for those Amnesias means that once you're both max set, he won't be doing that much damage to you. But at the very least, you can deal with it with Recover. Which, by the way, since it's a ground type, it also has the really good benefit of being immune to paralysis from Thunder Wave and being immune to Thunderbolt. That's huge. That gives Gastrodon a lot of pivoting potential. And with how bulky it is, the fact that the only weakness it needs to worry about is maybe Razor Leaf that's just great. And considering Rhydon's already quad weak and it doesn't even like make Pokemon like Venusaur or Victory Bell like OU, I do think Gastrodon doesn't worry too much. I don't see Gastrodon being so good it will like increase the viability of Razor Leaf users by a lot. Maybe a little bit. But even then, it doesn't even matter. Because it's obvious which Pokemon have Razor Leaf, so it's always easier to switch out. So overall, Gastrodon is just looking really good. Really strong mix attacker. Really good bulk. Fast enough to where it wants to do the things it wants to. It's perfect. The only thing we need to question is which form you prefer. I definitely prefer the what do you call it, the Western version? Or just the standard? Definitely my favorite, even though the Eastern version was the one I used when I first played the Pokemon Sun. Lastly, before we get to the replays, I just want to say, why did they get rid of Gastrodon and Cynthia's team, but kept the Milotic? Not only is Milotic the only non-Gen 4 Pokemon she had, but also, that was literally used by Wallace in the previous game as the champion's ace Pokemon. What? Like, I know it looks really good for Cynthia aesthetically, but I don't care. Why? I just don't get it. It really pisses me off, because Gastrodon is probably just better for her team anyways, since it just gives her less weaknesses, more like immunities, it's just stronger. But whatever. Let's get on to the replay, shall we? Starting off with the boy himself, Tauros. And luckily with Recover, you can always... Well, for one, Earthquake doesn't even do that bad of damage. Like, as you see there, that's really good. Like, that's like... Is that a third, I think? Either way, though, even if you don't just go straight for attacking, with Recover, you can always sell a Tauros. It can do, like, 30% to you, but that's very manageable. Even a crit won't just automatically kill you as long as you play your cards right. And Blizzard and Earthquake, I think, did about the same there? So, like, how much was... Actually, I don't care that much. You can see right now, even Hyper Beam only does 54 there. So, probably damage range, but it's manageable. And I'm pretty sure Crit Hyper Beam doesn't... Oh, actually, no, Crit Hyper Beam does outgo you. But still, this is like a match that Tauros definitely wants to avoid. Because for the most part, Gastrodon can handle it. Most of the time. There's always a chance of a crit. But considering Gastrodon can just do a great job surviving non-crits and doing decent damage to Tauros, I really do think Tauros does never ever risk it. Because what does Tauros have to gain? It needs to high roll and get a crit. And even then, it needs a crit from Hyper Beam in order to just guarantee take it out. Even a crit from Body Slam still can have Gastrodon do some decent chip to you, which just makes it easier for the enemy Tauros to kill you. So I think Tauros always needs to fear Gastrodon. Snorlax is actually the same, but way worse. Being faster than Snorlax is huge, and being able to do a fourth is also nice. And yeah, that's the answer to the question. Blizzard does like ever so slightly worse. However, even though this looks like Snorlax can maybe win, or the very least both of them can be in a giant-ass Star War, there's Amnesia. And Gastrodon can always recover off any damage Snorlax gives it. So it's just not looking good for Snorlax at all. But what about Amnesialax? Well, there are some Amnesia sets that use Thunderbolt only. Those obviously just lose hard. I guess I forgot to make a replay for Snorlax. Either way though, it's basically, or actually I'll just be real, it'll be basically the same thing with the Slowbro replay when you see it a little bit. Gastrodon's always just a little bit faster than Snorlax, which means both of them have max special at the same time. But one big difference will most likely be that Gastrodon has Revival Recovery, And half the time it'll be using a stab special move while Snorlax won't. A little bit more could go either way, but one I would still argue is in Gastrodon's favor. Now back to Chansey. As you see there, Earthquake is a third. That is really damn good. And with Gastrodon being able to go for Amnesias, it can get scared of a freeze, don't get me wrong. But that's something you can potentially just work with if something else gets frozen. Or it's just a 10% chance. I've had plenty of games where I kept on trying to spam Ice Beam, and I just never got the freeze. It was very unfortunate. Now, I'm going to put this on fast because this matchup ended up lasting a while. Because another thing you gotta know is that even if Gastrodon can handle itself against Chansey, Sapboard is still really annoying. So in actuality, both of these two can seriously PP stall the other. I think with Surf, this match is significantly more in Chansey's favor, since Surf does more damage than Blizzard, but way more importantly, you just have more power points. But still, even if Earthquake swing a third, that's still really good, and that alone can seriously drain Chansey's power points. It's not like Chansey can chip you over, because once you have Amnesia's up, Ice Beam doesn't do much, and obviously with Recover, you can always heal up any Seismic Toss damage. Not to mention Chansey can't even paralyze you. So, I think this could go either way, but I can definitely see arguments for this being way more in Gastrodon's favor. Because I feel like Chansey has way more to lose here. And I feel like as long as Gastrodon's using Surf instead, it's just way more likely that Gastrodon will drain Chansey's power points first. Let's see here. Yeah, looking at it right now, there's only one Sapboard left and one Ice Beam left. So, you know what? Compared to Gastrodon, who still has, well, at the very least, doesn't have Recovers left. Actually, he is almost out of Earthquakes. But to be fair, that's also using Blizzard and not Surf. Surf would have done a lot more damage, and you would have a few of those left still. So, maybe this could be changed to a good matchup for Gastrodon. I don't know for sure, but I think that sounds decent. Because I feel like if a Chansey has no Ice Beams or Soft Boils, that's way more impactful than Gastrodon. Because even in a worst case scenario, Gastrodon can keep pivoting with electric moves or stuff. Now for Gastrodon versus Alakazam, crits are absolutely terrifying. And with that, they can just kill Gastrodon at any moment. However, it's not always guaranteed. It's still just a 27% chance. And Amnesias can do a decent job just making sure you can survive at least one of those. And Earthquake does half. That's already insane. So, I forget how much a crit actually does. But I'm not sure if this can go quickly either way or not. I didn't put it for quickly either way for Tauros. But Alakazam has a better crit rate, so I don't know. I really don't. It probably doesn't matter in the long run, since you're not going to take Gastrodon out against a healthy Alakazam. And if the Zam is paralyzed, well, you better believe Gastrodon has a great matchup against it. And if that's the case, I guess in execution we can put Alakazam in a good matchup. Now, Cloyster. If Cloyster gets unlucky and you have Surf instead of Blizzard, you might be alright. But that's not always going to be the case. And also, crits are a thing. But it also depends on how unlucky you're getting with Clamp crits. Gastrodon got really unlucky here and had to deal with a crit that hit for 5. But that doesn't usually happen. But what about a Gastrodon that already set up? Because even though Surf is resisted, when you have 999 special, it doesn't really matter too much. So we start with Caterpie. Caterpie, seeing the threat that Gastrodon has, makes sure to lower its speed, so that if you had Slowbro, it would be faster than the Gastrodon. You just had to really make sure, in case Slowbro got paralyzed or something. Unfortunately, Tackle doesn't do anything. Surf might be an OHKO, but I'm pretty sure it's a damage range. You guys should definitely calc that if a max special Gastrodon with Surf can OHKO Caterpie. But yeah, when you have max special, Clamp does basically nothing. You need a crit. Now granted, I don't think you already take Cloyster out that much against Gastrodon. It doesn't matter too much because Cloyster's still faster. And it can always just put you in range for something else to kill Gastrodon, or just go for Boom. This, actually, now to think about it, I guess this should be put as an unwinnable matchup. It just does not look very good for Cloyster. Or not even for Gastrodon. Because even in the worst case scenario, going Boom against a max special Gastrodon, I don't care what the context is, that is always a fantastic trade. So yeah, I think Gastrodon just always loses now that I think about it. Executor just depends. If you have Blizzard, this is like a very easy cakewalk. Assuming you're not put to sleep. Which doesn't always happen, because something else will put to sleep instead. But Blizzard you can take on it pretty easily. Without it, which is Surf, I'm sure once you eventually got the max, it can do good damage. But Executor just can't even come in until it knows which one you're using in the first place. Because if you can't put Gastrodon to sleep, it's just significantly better. Like, we just won Amnesia, you're already changing from like a, that's like a, not even a 4-hit KO. You can always recover off the damage. And even Surf, like I said, probably doesn't do that bad once you're right at max. But Blizzard, yeah, that hurts. That hurts a lot. So it's up to you what you really want. I think the Chansey matchup, seeing Blizzard have its power point stalled, showed that Gastrodon with Surf is legitimately, like, very valuable. It just depends on what you want to beat. Do you want to beat Chansey, or do you want to beat Executor? The good thing about Gastrodon, outside of other Pokemon, is even if you don't choose the other move, the other one can still be just as threatening once you have max special. Blizzard can still do a lot of damage to Chansey, and I imagine a Surf with max special does decent damage to Executor. So that's a good thing about Gastrodon. It's not really suffering too much from Four Move Sweat Syndrome, because whatever it doesn't have, it can definitely make up for. And then Gengar, it needs to hit that Hypnosis, because if it doesn't, Earthquake will two-shot you. So if Gengar gets any chip whatsoever, it's probably not worth it. And even when it's at full HP, I'd still argue it isn't worth it. Because even if you get Hypnosis the second time, look at how low Gengar is. What's it really going to accomplish for the rest of the game? Probably nothing, if I had to guess. Just a lot of things are just faster than it, like Starmie and Alakazam. And then Jolteon has nothing it can use to hit you. Not like Pin Miss or Double Kick would do that much damage either. This is literally just a free win. And one where in actuality, you probably don't even bother hitting the Jolteon. You could very easily just start setting up Amnesias. And with just one Amnesia, I'm pretty sure there's nothing in the game that can actually, like, want to deal with that. The Jolteon might just see, like a big decrease. And if Jinx doesn't put it to sleep, one Psychic is a 4-hit KO, but obviously a crit, or Blizzard, or Freeze, or a crit, or both from Blizzard is terrifying. But you have to bulk and Amnesia and recover, so it's not unwinnable. I don't think so. Like, it's mostly just getting a third special drop, or 10% freeze. Or, which I feel like the crit too, like I would have just said. But I don't know if those are all three of those enough. Can say that Jinx is a good matchup here. Because Earthquake is a 2 KO. Because technically you even need to go for Amnesia. Just going for one just gives you insurance for Psychic special drops. So Earthquake and 2-shot. You know what? If that's the case, I think Jinx should be a good matchup, regardless of if it's or assuming there's no sleep. And then right on, Earthquake does a third to you. You do a third to it with your own Earthquake. You have Recover, so you can like deal with the damage. And if you really wanted to, you could always just PP Salt right on's Earthquakes, because Earthquake has 16 power points, I believe, and Gastrodon has 32 in Recover. So technically that's enough. It's enough to deal with Rhydon. And Blizzard does even more damage, so you could just go for that instead. But I think stalling out with Recover is a lot funnier. Now we have 3 left. We have Slowbro. Slowbro, you thank God you're faster. That does significantly help you with this matchup. If you guys had a speed tie, it would probably ever so slightly go in Slowbro's favor. But since you just have that little bit more speed, it just helps you. Surf doesn't do that much. Obviously, his do a little bit more. So it's probably worth just going for Earthquake instead. And even then, doesn't do that much, but you still have Recover. And you can always force Swobro to go for Rest eventually. Crits like that are also just pretty helpful. Gastrodon definitely got lucky there. You don't crit that much when you have like an abysmal 39 speed stat. But still, that's another thing in Gastrodon's favor. Just ever so slightly having a better crit rate. It means that since your match with Swobro is going to be very long, and you're going to be like, both of you guys are going to be healing a lot, even though your crit rate isn't very good, you are staying in long enough to where you might be able to fish for it. But I'd still say the matchup is, or I don't really know if it's a good go either way or not. Theoretically, you have enough recovers where you can always PowerPoint stall Surf. It's complicated. Now, Starmie. A crit Blizzard only does half, so Gastrodon can deal with that very easily. And as a crit from Psychic isn't really that much worse either. Not really our special drops, since you can always just use Recover and Amnesia. So there's the Recover. Starmie's suffering to do anything. It can't paralyze Gastrodon. So I guess that I think about it, I guess Gastrodon, despite being neutral, is probably one of the best answers to the water types, outside of Cloyster. And Earthquake does a third, that's Starmie, which, for something like Chansey, I understand. Chansey is very well with defense. But seriously, even Starmie? This is why Gastrodon's such a good mix attacker. It can threaten literally everything, which is awesome, because I love Gastrodon. Now, at this point, there's not really anything Starmie can do. Blizzard does, I guess we don't max special. It doesn't do a half quite yet. And I was scared to go for another Amnesia, because I know about that one glitch in Gen 1, where if it goes over, I believe 1026, it reverts back to, rolls over again, goes to 1. Which, I really don't want to do that, or want to risk it. 3.5 is good enough, I would say. The only really annoying thing is that Starmie also has Recover. But even then, if you're forcing Starmie of all Pokemon to waste its Recover power points, that is just really good. Like, that does make Starmie way less threatening in the late game, which you just love. By the way, as this is going on, just like Vanillux, Gastrodon is another Pokemon that's going to be in Generation Jumble Season 3. Now, I think most people think Palossand is going to be the better ground-type user, and I could definitely see arguments for that. But now I'm really starting to see just how good Gastrodon really is. So I'm really curious to see how good it will do in that season. You should definitely join the Discord server if you want to participate in this season yourself. Now, last but not least, we have Zapdos. And despite not being a ground type, because of just how high your HP is, you can tank those drill pegs very well. And even a crit wouldn't be that bad, since a crit would only do half your health, which means it's easy to get recovers off. Only 2 drill pegs in a row would be able to kill you, and each individual crit is a 19% chance. Not really good odds for you. And also, I decided to go for Surf, not even Blizzard, because that's how much Surf does. Obviously, Blizzard is even better. And that was a very easy matchup for Gastrodon, I would say. Well, anyways, here is the tier list. I think this could be changed to good matchup. This needs to be changed to unwinnable. I don't know why I put this in bad. I don't know what I was thinking. Actually, what was I thinking with this tier list? What the hell? None of those things in bad matchup made any sense. I made this tier list very late at night, where I was making a VC with somebody. That's probably why. This is a great matchup, obviously. Chansey, I think I guess you could keep this and could go either way. Maybe you can argue Zapdos in a great matchup, but I think the chance to crit twice in a row is just good enough to where you don't risk that. I think this is good for now. But I can definitely, actually no, Executor should be put in, could go either way, because it just depends on what moves that you're using. I can go either way on this. Like, I guess, like, if you really want to, these can also be put in good matchups. But I don't know. I'm very indecisive with this tier list. But what do you guys think? Do you think Gastrodon would be the best water type in Gen 1 OU? Do you think it would be the best ground type in Gen 1 OU? Do you think... Definitely not Quaxar, he has no chance. But do you think Swampert was a better water ground type? Let me know what you think in the comments below. But until next time, this is Groundback, and I look forward to hearing from you.